Welcome to Founder Stories with Mona Juneja. This is the podcast you'll wish you found sooner. In each episode, I talk to founders who left their 9 to 5 to build their own business. They share mistakes, late nights, and the moments they almost gave up. If you have been thinking of starting something, these stories will give you the push you need. So let's get started. Welcome, Eric, to the Founder Stories podcast. It's my pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Mona. Happy to be here.
It'll be great to get started with your introduction. Who are you? Where are you from? And what do you do?
Thank you. Okay, well, my name is Eric Savant. Where I'm from and where I'm from now are different. I'm from San Francisco, California, but I've been living in the UK for the last 31 years. So I'm based in London. I am currently the co-founder of GTM Savants. We're a go-to-market consultancy, and we're focused primarily on tech companies that need some help in their growth story. I'm also a mentor for Oxford University Innovations, so I help startups there get their start, so to speak, helping them with their branding, messaging, value propositions, the whole bit. And recently I've been working with Mona Juneja on her story as well, so happy to be here talking to you about my story.
Yes, thanks, Eric. Yes, I know you have been helping me with Bear Connect, with the GTM strategy of Bear Connect for the past 2 months or more than 2
Yeah,
months.
I think it might be 3 months now, yeah,
3 months now?
a
All
bit.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your advice has really helped shape Bear Connect. So thank you so much. So, Eric, before starting GTM Savants, did you have a 9 to 5 job? Can you take us through that journey?
Sure. Okay, so this is the third startup that I've worked in. It's the second one that I've created myself. And the most recently, I was working as a managing director for a 3D printing, 3D visualization, additive manufacturing company. And I've been in the additive manufacturing, 3D printing world for the last 10 years. So I've gone, and prior to starting my own company, which was actually back in 2002, some time ago, I was working in enterprise as well. So sales and marketing, VP, those kinds of roles.
Okay. So, so for how long did you have
I had a 9 to 5. It was never actually 9 to 5, I have to say, because I've been in management positions for over 35 years. It's been a long time since I haven't been, I've actually been 9 to 5. But I started my own company when I was 38. That was the first time I'd started my own company. And, the reasons, knowing now who your audience is, the reasons that people start their own companies are going to be varied, right? You have to understand yourself and why you're doing it. For me, the thing I value more than anything else I've discovered as I've gone on is independence. And it's independence of thought, independence of decision making. And it's, to be honest, and this is not necessarily a good thing for an entrepreneur to admit to, it's more important than the money. It's having the ability to call my own shots. And that's why I embarked into the entrepreneurial space.
Mm-hmm. All right. So your first company was when you were 38.
Yeah, I was 38 when I started my first company. So I know that for lots of entrepreneurs that's late, but that's when it was for me.
It's actually not late for me. I mean, I'm 44 right now, and I started my
Are you?
first agency 2 years ago when I was
Okay.
42. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So I
Yeah, all
worked.
right.
Yeah. So I worked
Yeah,
for
so
20
you were
plus
later than I
years.
was.
Yes. So it's never too late to start. So what's the number one step for anyone thinking to leave their 9 to 5 job to become their own boss? So in my case, it was a combination of what I know, what am I good at, if it can
Hmm.
get me revenue, and if I really like what I was doing. So it was a
Yeah.
combination of whether I was passionate, revenue, and my skill set.
Yeah, I mean, those are all three, like the Rushmore of reasons, right? The first thing is you have to be good at something, right? You can't just go, I want to be independent and I'm going to go off and do it. You have to have something that you bring into the table, but you also have to know why you're doing it, right? And you do, of course, have to make enough money to live. And if you can make enough money to do more than live and build something, that's important. I do think that entrepreneurs have to have a particular nature. They have to want to build things. They have to want to make things. I definitely fall in that category. And from what I know from you based on our conversations, I know you fall in that category too. But I think the most successful entrepreneurs are just natural builders. They just want it. Like right now, I've started a consultancy, and I'm much more comfortable with the building of this consultancy than the consultancy itself, right? Even though, of course, I'm perfectly fine to be a consultant. I have lots to offer, I think, but I like the building better. It's the best part about being an entrepreneur is building things.
Yeah, I agree with you. When you started, so let me go back because this podcast is really for people who are not able to take the leap. So when you started your first company at 38, did you still have a job or did you just quit and
No,
started?
I quit it, started.
Oh wow,
I
okay.
left and I went for it.
Okay. And that was
And
in
sometimes
California.
and I know that, it doesn't have to be always of your own volition, right? Sometimes it's
Yeah.
just like the moment is upon you. And when it's there, you just take it. You take the circumstances as they come to you.
Yeah.
So that's how life goes, Sometimes it's your own volition. Sometimes somebody is giving you an incentive to move on, right? That's all okay. Any one of those reasons is perfectly reasonable. So go on.
No, I was just saying, so you were in California at 38.
No, I was here. I was here already. I'd been here in the UK for, I'd already been 7 years, 8 years in the UK, something like that.
Okay, all right.
I literally, Mona, I got an MBA, worked for a year in the US, then I got married, moved to the UK all in one swoop. I came over on a 6-month project and I never left. So yeah, 6 months turned into 31 years. But
So
yeah,
you
so
like the
all
U.
basically, I do much more. So my entire professional career has really been uh, here in the UK.
Okay, all right, that's great. Yeah, I lived in London for 3 years.
Yeah, see, it was a good place to be, right?
That's a different story. It's not about me, it's about
That's
you. But
another interview, I think.
yeah, yeah. So now Eric Savants, okay, which is you basically help
Yeah.
people, tech founders like me with their GTM strategy. When did you start, and what's your approach towards getting more clients?
So this is actually kind of, I think there's sort of an irony to what I do now. So I just started this in June. So it's very recent. And of course, I'm a go-to-market consultancy, but I'm in the process of working out my own go-to-market strategy too, right? So I'm helping clients work out theirs and I'm working on mine together. So I'm my first client is what that means. And I'm not doing this by myself. I'm doing this with 3 other partners. And we each have individual specializations. Mine is in the tech side. And when I say tech, I mean deep tech more than SaaS, although I certainly understand how SaaS works, and I'm working with you on that as well. But for me, the kinds of clients that I need are very specific. They are people they're typically like engineers or scientists, or not necessarily business people, that have great ideas and ideas that could potentially change the world. And they love their product, right? They are experts at what they have made, but they aren't necessarily experts at bringing it across to the public or to their target audience, to the ICP. So I help them work through that process. Now, that means my universe of clients is very defined, and my exploration in this process has been finding the best ways to get to those people. So I've used LinkedIn strategies, of course, and I know your product reasonably well, and I know how it works, and it's fabulous at what it does. And so I've taken a more targeted approach. So the first thing I did was I set up an API to download clients directly off of Companies House that had particular SIC codes, and I could determine I want them to have started between X date and X date, right? So I could be really quite specific and targeted on that. And I've actually found customers that way. That's been effective, but it's not been perfect. So the targeting has been slightly off, and I realized that what I'm really targeting for me is I'm targeting spin-outs more than almost any other type of client. Now, my partners have different skill sets. So one of them is particularly strong in prop tech, so property technology. Another in AI. A third he comes from sort of a print media world, so he's media and print and that type of thing. So we each have different skills, and that means each of our go-to-market strategies for our customers are slightly different. And so we have to gauge it individually. But that's of course just the targeting portion of it. There's the messaging, there's the branding, there's the building the value proposition for every ICP. All of those things are a process. Those are the same no matter who you're targeting and what your business is. You go through the same thing. Now, if it's B2B, it'll take on certain flavor versus B2C. Those will feel slightly different, and you perhaps have to have more ICPs if you're a consumer-based type of a company. But the processes, the methodology, they're all the same. They're all very similar.
Okay, great. So, Eric, if someone were to reach out to you or to your partners, what's the best way? Because I'm going to leave your LinkedIn
Yep.
ID and perhaps the website in the
Yeah.
description so that people can reach out.
Great. Yeah, connecting on LinkedIn is great, and you can DM us after connecting. It's very rare that I wouldn't accept a connection, truthfully.
Yeah.
And I mean, I see no reason to be fastidious about that. It's like, yeah, come on in. And also, you can reach directly on the website. My own email address is eric@gtmsavants.com.
Okay. All right. So we are going to list your email ID as well in the description so
Sure.
that people can
Yeah.
write to you directly. All right. Let me see what are the questions I have. This one question I ask everyone. If you could go back to day one of your startup, what would you do differently?
So I'm still actually pretty close to day one in this particular startup. So I think maybe I'll draw back to my first startup if I could, because that I think is more pertinent to the question. And I ran that business for 12 years. So it was fairly successful business. But I would say that the reasons that I set up my own business, I talked about, were independence first and foremost. Well, that actually had some downsides to it. One of the downsides is that I didn't seek investment when I could have. So I also started as a bootstrap founder, which is a perfectly legitimate way to go. But getting investment is more than just adding fuel to the business. It's also adding, if you do it well, and if you choose the right partners, it's adding intelligence. It's adding sounding boards. It's adding people who you can shoot ideas off of and who can challenge you and can push you. It's adding a separate set of ambitions. So it adds more than simply money that helps to fuel your ideas. The other aspect. So I guess back to your question of what would I do differently. I would have sought investment, and I would have sought it earlier because it would have made things happen faster. I basically ran this business as a solo entrepreneur for a long time, and it was fine, but it got stale. And at a certain point, you kind of feel like, I don't think I any longer have the same kind of strength of story 6-7 years in that I had when I started it. That part of that is the nature of what your idea was in the first place. But part of that will also be that if you do it fully bootstrapped for all that time, the chances of your taking off, like really taking off, of course, go way down. And what starts as innovation quickly stops being innovative, right? Because other ideas have taken over. So I guess my advice, and this is what I'm saying to the Oxford students now too, or they're actually not students, they're some present and former students that are within this innovation company, is that the moment that you are grasping doesn't last forever. So make the most of it while you have it, and don't be afraid or reticent to push hard and go hard and fast. That would be my advice. And it's my advice to you too, actually. It's like, don't be afraid to push hard and fast. If the idea is working and you're feeling confident, just take it on, go.
Yeah, so as you know, I'm bootstrapped and I get
Yeah.
a message almost every day from VCs, and I'm
Yeah.
pushing back because I want to see for how long I can take this
Yeah.
at my own
Well,
pace. Yeah, it's hard.
no, I listen, Mona, I totally get that. My impetus when I was, in my late 30s, early 40s was like, I don't want your money. And I don't want your money, and I really don't want you telling me what to do. That's
Yeah.
what I really don't want, right? And I think I'm not alone in that as an entrepreneur, right? I think entrepreneurs, a lot of them have that spirit. Now that I'm looking back on that, with having had, 20 years of a career since then, maybe I should have been a little bit more open. Uh, and this is turning into another session. Like, why are we doing this? Interview is switched, but but I would say, be open to it. Well, let me finish the first sentence before I add the but. Be open to it because it opens up possibilities that you might not necessarily have. But you have to choose the right partner. And when you're getting an investor, you are buying a partner. Yeah. Don't kid yourself. You're not just getting the money from the investor. You are getting a partner. So make sure you choose well. And if you wouldn't hire that person, certainly don't take their money, because once you have their money, you can't fire them.
Yeah, they can fire you.
Right? They can fire you. So be careful with that one.
Yeah, exactly. So what was your business? What was the first company, Eric?
So my first company was called Essentials for Travel. And it was, now this, you say this now and it sounds completely non-innovative, but in 2002, when I started it, I was the first company that sold luggage and travel accessories online in the UK.
Really?
Right. So I was very early e-commerce company.
Oh, wow.
I effectively, for about 3 years, if you were in the UK and like from 2000 and maybe, actually pretty quickly, 2002 up through say 2005, if you typed in the word luggage in Google, then Essentials for Travel came 1. If you typed in travel accessories, Essentials for Travel came 1. If you typed in laptop cases, Essentials for Travel came 1. So I was a very early e-commerce proponent.
That's very impressive, Eric. So did you code it yourself or did you have a team?
I used a third party to help me build the first site. And after that, I actually ran the site myself. So the site that I have now for my own business, I built that one myself. It's not that hard to do it these days, but I certainly can build it, understand how to build it, understand the SEO that goes behind it. I'm very good at the on-page SEO parts. The off-page parts take a different skill set and require more assistance from outside. So I understand it to a degree, but there are certainly people who understand that better than I do now.
Okay, great. That's amazing. Wow, in 2002?
2002.
Yeah. I'm thinking in my head, what was I doing in 2002?
So basically, Google changed an algorithm, and I moved from front page from like basically in the high street in the best location to behind the petrol station around the corner. And, so I moved from basically selling mostly off of my own website to mostly selling off of Amazon. And I became an Amazon super seller. And I was one of the very first luggage sellers on Amazon as well. So, I taught Amazon a lot. I opened up a lot of their products for me. And then, of course, they took over and, So I lost to Amazon in that sense. I could have continued selling that. I could have been a super seller, and it's like, I really despise this. Actually, this is not the business that I intended to build. But they wouldn't have to, though. That's the thing. For all the companies like mine that took that leap, they would just take us over, right?
Yeah.
And that's what they did. And I don't begrudge them either. Actually, I think they've built a brilliant business model, and it worked. So, I did learn something from the exercise as well. So I'm not at all bitter about it. I moved on to other things and moved on to the 3D printing world, which has been also incredibly interesting and rewarding too. And now I'm doing this. So this exercise is great. I feel like I'm much better equipped to be running a startup now than I was then. And who knows, Mona, I may be getting funding for bigger ideas still. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, definitely. So I have been posting a lot on Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a marketing person who told me about Reddit, and I started from 1st September. There's a digital nomad group on Reddit, and I posted about my journey that, how 10 years ago, my husband and I, we quit our jobs and we traveled for a year. Our money got over, we started working. And then we promised each other that in 10 years we are going to travel full time. And now we are traveling full time while building our businesses. So I got so many comments from people saying, how did you do it? Oh, maybe you saved a lot of money. Or, even I want to do it. Like there were so many comments from people who are looking to be in this lifestyle, but they don't want to either implement or they don't know what to do. I was so impressed with this guy. He found me on LinkedIn and he got to my profile. There's a Calendly link. He booked a call with me and he showed up on a call. He was just
Really?
21. Yeah, he was just 21. He was like, Mona, I'm from Colombia, but I live in the US.
Yeah.
And how did you do it? Because I love traveling, you know. So we exchanged thoughts and because of AI, it's so
Yeah.
easy to learn skill sets. People are taking that leap. They are quitting their jobs, taking that leap, you know, moving to Southeast Asia, lower cost
Yeah.
countries where they have good work life balance. I give my piece of advice to this person, but in general, if people are watching this podcast, and I'm hoping that this podcast is going to go big and I'm going to promote it everywhere.
Yeah, of course.
What is your advice to, you know, those set of people?
That's I'm not sure that I'm fully equipped to advise that, because the way that the world, as you say, the way the world has moved is it's moved so fast, and it's moved in directions that many of us couldn't have predicted, right? The fact that we can work from home, work from an office, hybrid work, the fact that that many of us no longer have just one job, that we are creating portfolio careers, as they call them, which I quite like. The fact that we can all be sort of fractional employees, fractional CCO of this and fractional CEO of another thing, means that the type of life that we have available to build is going to be very individual. So I don't know if I can advise someone how they want to live their lives and what choices they should make for it. The only thing I would say is it's okay to dream big, but be responsible. Take jobs when you can, pay your bills. You still have to be realistic and doing the things that lead to a fulfilling life. And sometimes it doesn't have to be glorious and incredible. It can just be, solid and acceptable. And that's good. I just turned 60, so I'm putting my age on that there. I just turned 60, and one of the cards that I got, I think it was from my mother-in-law. I can't remember for sure, but she sent me a card that said something like, gotta see if I can say it properly, but coming home early or going to bed early and staying home all the time and not going out is used to be considered punishment, and now they're what we strive for. So as through the course of your life, and in your 60s, I'm like, yeah, that's great. Those are the things I aspire to. It's like, if I can get to bed by 10 o'clock, that's awesome. It's like when I was 25, it was like 10 o'clock. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Like if I'm rolling in before 3, I'm unhappy. So where you are in your life at any particular moment determines how you make those decisions. So it's impossible for me to advise a 21-year-old who's has big ambitions to do things, whether they should do it. The only thing I would say is absolutely be courageous. Absolutely go for it. Whatever it is, go for it. Right? You have to try. Mm-hmm. Because if you have to fall back on something else, fine, you fall back. But if you don't strive, then you're living in your fallback without ever having, maybe touched something that you could have gotten to before. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to be living in the fallback of your fallback position, I guess is the better way to put it.
That's a great advice. Thanks, Eric. So before we wrap up, one final question. You mentioned about something about Oxford University that you are coaching the students.
Yeah.
Is it? What exactly is the role?
So Oxford University Innovations is a wholly owned subsidiary of Oxford University.
Okay.
And what it does, I'm giving them an advertisement, so they'll be happy. What it does is for all of the ideas that are generated within the university from a research standpoint, but also that are generated by either the current students or graduates of the university. They created this subsidiary company to help them launch their ideas out into the world. And as you think about it, I mean, Oxford's it is probably the premier research institute in the world. So they're going to have a lot of ideas that are business worthy and change the world and make a lot of money. And Oxford University Innovations is set up to help those ideas come to fruition. So my role within that, and I have to say it's a very recent role, but my role within that is to help guide those startups that need some advice and care to have it from me. Because I'm not the only mentor there. There are other mentors, and there will be some that have skills that are different from mine that are maybe more appropriate to one idea than another. But so yeah, that setup is really helping to commercialize. That's the word I probably should use in the beginning. It's helping to commercialize the research and innovation that Oxford University generates.
Okay, that's great. I think that's a great initiative by Oxford University, to
It's incredible. Yeah, many universities are going to have the same kind of a setup. Any university with a significant research capability will have set up something like that.
So, Eric, do you physically? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and do I physically go? Yeah, when they have an event, I will be present so that I meet the mentees.
Okay, that's great. Eric, it was lovely having you here. Thank you so much for speaking with me and inspiring our audience.
You're welcome, Mona. It's always a pleasure, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Thanks for listening. This episode was sponsored by Bear Connect, an AI-powered LinkedIn automation tool that helps you save hours every week. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure you follow or subscribe and share it with at least one person who needs a reminder to follow their dream. See you next time.